Hey there, it is Alicia from aliciacarlson.com, and today I want to talk to you about how you can start to create consistency in your life around your health, your fitness, or your wellness goals when maybe you haven't been able to do it in the past, or you've struggled with it because it feels like it's restrictive, you have a hard time following routines, and it just feels like you've got to follow the rules. I'm a little bit rebellious. I kind of always have been, and in the past, that rebellion led to me getting in trouble. But the older I've gotten, and dare I even be so bold to say, the wiser I've gotten, I am starting to be kind of comfortable and okay with being rebellious in a sense. And when I talk about that, it's because most people aren't consistent. Most people don't follow through. When you look at the average, it's just kind of going with the flow, even if the flow isn't really serving you. So I am guessing that you are here watching this because you want something else for your life. You've got goals, you've got dreams, you're ambitious, and you've got to kind of break past this plateau, break past of where you are now. Being consistent is one of the best ways that you can do that, and I'm going to walk you through how you can start to become more consistent around your food, your exercise, and some other healthy habits in general. So first things first, you've got to keep your eye on your why. Really ask yourself, why have you set this goal for yourself? And the answer of, I just want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to be the same size as I was in high school, or whatever it is, that's not going to cut it. You've really got to dig in, and you've got to ask why. What do you think it is about being X pounds lighter? Or what do you think it is about being the size that you were in high school? So really take some time to dig deep and find out your why, and then keep that why in mind, because the tough times will come. And if you are not really grounded in that purpose and really know why it is that you are pushing yourself to be consistent, it's going to be far too easy to give up. The second thing, you've got to pick your battle and really focus on just picking one battle at a time. One of the ways that I truly do believe that mainstream health and fitness has let us down is that it really focuses on creating all of this radical change at once. You've got to get on the workout plan, you've got to completely overhaul your eating and your diet and all of these things. And you've got to create a morning routine, and you've got to have a good bedtime routine, and you've got to worry about your sleep and all of this other stuff. That can be incredibly overwhelming, and it can be really hard to try to make consistent changes to our habits in all of those areas. So pick your battle, just pick one at a time, and focus on that. So stay with the nutrition habit for a little while. Stay with the goal of just getting in some movement every day for 15 minutes for a couple of weeks until you start to feel like that's just becoming a more natural part of your routine. And when you start to feel like you're gaining some ground and you're kind of winning that battle, then you can add something else in. But just focus on picking one battle at a time. And don't forget to prioritize your schedule. So you don't prioritize your schedule, rather, but schedule your priorities. So for a lot of us, we just kind of let the day happen. We don't really have a plan going into it. We don't usually schedule in our self-care or our workouts or time for us to kind of unplug and recharge our batteries. Typically as women, especially if you are a working mom, I almost said working mom, a working mom or wife or something like that, where you're the caretaker of other people, it is so easy to put yourself last. And if you do that, if you are not consistent about prioritizing some of your self-care and actually scheduling that in, I'm here to tell you it will never happen. So you've got to look at the things that are your must-dos and get those scheduled. And one of those must-dos is getting movement in. It's, making sure that you are taking the time to sit down and eat a meal that is going to satisfy you, that's in alignment with your goals, that makes you feel good, that really makes you feel like you're taking care of you. And then look at what other self-care things you want to incorporate. But don't just count on those things happening. You've got to be really intentional and really focused about scheduling those priorities in. Number 4, ignore your feelings. Now, usually I would not tell you to do this. I'm all about leaning into your thoughts and kind of diving into your feelings, your emotions, and why you feel the way that you feel. But when you are trying to change your habits, you have to put some of those feelings on hold, because the truth is that it is hard to create good habits, especially when we've got some really bad habits deeply rooted in us, right? The bad habits offer kind of an immediate payoff, right? Like if I go downstairs and I just start going to town on my favorite dark chocolate bar, that's easy because in that moment, I'm getting my needs met, right? It tastes good. It's making me feel good. It's hitting all the right spots in my brain. But if I am wanting to create a healthier habit or maybe a different habit that is going to add value to my life in a different way, which I'm not saying dark chocolate's bad, I'm not saying any chocolate is bad necessarily, but it's looking at the habits. And so those habits that tend to add the most value to our life, like getting daily movement, feeding your body nutritious foods that nourish it, those kinds of things, the payoff doesn't come right away, right? Like it might not always feel good to put your shoes on and go for a walk. It might not always feel good to choose, eating whatever, put sweet potatoes, chicken, and a salad over going through and getting your favorite hamburger. That might not always feel good, but in the beginning, when you are trying to create habits and you're trying to be consistent, you have to override those emotions and those feelings. As you become more consistent, as you become more intentional, more self-aware, more mindful about your choices, then I think you can kind of start to take your hands off of that wheel a little bit and you can kind of start to tune into your feelings. Because it is also important to recognize, are you eating quote unquote healthy? Are you exercising from a place of stress, from a place of self-hatred, those kinds of things? So you do want to be able to tune into those feelings, but initially you've got to just get yourself over the hump. Last but not least, don't forget to catch the wagon, right? We all fall off the wagon at some point. We're not perfect. We're going to mess up. We might make mistakes along the way, but the only failure happens is when you let yourself stay down. So when you feel like you have maybe messed up, instead of allowing yourself to kind of spiral into that pit of negativity, I want you to pull yourself up. I want you to get back on the wagon, and I want you to focus on just doing the next best thing. It's not about doing it perfect. It's not about beating yourself up when you mess up. It is simply just about showing up, taking messy, imperfect, massive action. And sometimes that massive action is just eating a vegetable, right? Sometimes that massive action is just putting your tennis shoes on and walking around the block. Whatever that is for you today, that is what I want you to focus on. So I hope this helps you kind of get some ideas and sort of get your head wrapped around some basic ways that you can start creating consistency around nutrition, fitness, and your mindset. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I would love to connect with you. You can leave a comment below this video. You can find me over on Instagram at AliciaCarlson_, or you can always shoot me an email, alicia@aliciacarlson.com. Until next time, have a fantastic day.